SGA wants to step back three. There's another one for OKC. Got it.
I want to take a minute and say thank you to the Los Angeles Clippers for allowing me to fall in love with basketball again. Without their greedy trade moves over the years, we would not be witnessing SGA and the Oklahoma City Thunder building a dynasty right before our eyes. We've seen it time and time again, trying to build a super team, going into luxury tax to try to win, but it just doesn't work. So what was the downfall of the Los Angeles Clippers Oklahoma City Thunder trade? Why are the Clippers forever LA's second basketball team and the Thunder the favorites to make it to the finals this year? Is this the beginning of the end for major market franchises? Stay tuned, because by the end of this video, you're going to find out what GMs don't want you to know about their trade moves. Let's get into it. It can be said that the LA Clippers have one of the worst front offices in the history of the NBA. These guys have wasted so many top-tier talented players and draft picks. In the few instances where they have drafted properly in the past, they usually turn around and do something horrendous with those players. Hence why they have never won a Western Conference Finals matchup, thus never making it to an NBA Finals. The prime example is the SGA trade they did that sent a young Shai Gilgeous-Alexander to OKC for Paul George. It was one of the moves they needed to make to land a Kawhi Leonard deal, coming off a historic championship run with the Toronto Raptors. I'll admit, at the time, it didn't seem so bad, but it was just another thread in a string of bad decisions that the Clippers front office made. So, to go forward, we gotta go back. Where were the Clippers before SGA was sent packing? Well, the Clippers were a middle-of-the-pack team that was recovering from a dismantled roster from the Lob City era. They were the 8th seed in the 2018-2019 NBA season and went on to lose 4-2 to the Golden State Warriors in the first round of the playoffs. There wasn't really much hype around the team because the guys that made them an enjoyable team to watch were no longer there. Lob City was officially dead. They did have the dynamic bench duo of Lemon Pepper Lou and Montrez, who gave fans something to love, but these guys were really never going to be enough for them to make any real noise. With that said, you can imagine the extreme sense of glee the entire franchise must have felt when the Claw himself decided that this was the place he wanted to write the next chapter of his career. All of a sudden, seemingly out of the blue, the team immediately became a contender. The Kawhi deal was as big of a saga as far as sagas go in the NBA. The Spurs got in their feelings, told him winter is coming, and shipped him off to Toronto. The chips fell just right. He won a ring in the North, then decided to head to LA. But before Kawhi made an official move, he demanded that he walk into a championship-ready team, and whoever the other star was would have to already be there. So, the Clippers traded all of their draft picks, a quarter of the roster, the logo, and the team mascot to get Paul George from the Thunder. And then the NBA world went up in flames. Were the Clippers now the best team in LA? Were they now the best team in the West and ultimately in the entire league? Why not? They now had the supposedly best two-way duo who could light you up on offense and lock down the perimeter on defense. And in the midst of all this, absolutely no one was paying any attention to OKC. All they got were a boatload of draft assets and a decent young and new player from the Clippers. But all that paled in comparison to what the Clippers had just become. Let me tell you that no one was thinking that the Clippers may have just given the Thunder their dynasty piece to become one of the best teams in the league in just a few years. So the question is, why? Why did the Thunder decide to make the Paul George trade? Why would they give up such a major piece to a Western Conference rival? Well, for one, Paul George and his agent sat the Thunder guys down and said, listen here, Championship Claw is going to LA and we're going with him. And that's that. And that's exactly what happened. The Thunder got PG-13 a few years before to pair him with Russ and Carmelo Anthony, but for whatever reason, they couldn't get out of the first round of the playoffs, losing to the Jazz 4-2 in 2018 and to Dame Dolla's Blazers 4-1 in 2019. You remember that heartbreaking 3 Dame shot over PG in Game 5? The team did have a solid roster in Oklahoma, but it just wasn't good enough, and it seemed like a rebuild was the best thing to do. So after George went to LA, they promptly got rid of Russ, shipping him off to Houston to play with his bearded friend James Harden. In return, they got CP3 as the veteran guard who came in and taught Shea and all those youngsters about winning. That was a massive move by Sam Presti. But Shea wasn't the only valuable piece the Thunder got in the PG trade. I'm going to focus on what the trade pieces have already resulted in because we are still waiting on the future picks to unfold. But they got Danilo Gallinari, who averaged 18 points and 5 rebounds for the team, along with 5 draft picks and 2 pick swap options. One of those draft picks turned out to be J-Dub, who currently is averaging 20 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists this season, all while shooting 48% from the field. I'm sure then the Thunder were just making the best of an embarrassing situation. They had absolutely no idea what they were getting from this trade. It simply was a leap of faith. Back in 2019, the Clippers clearly won that trade person for person, but right now, that's definitely not the case. The Thunder are now the favorite to emerge out of the West this year. They're sitting comfortably at the top of the Western Conference with one of the youngest teams in the league. That means, theoretically, they have one of the longest championship windows in today's NBA. On the other hand, the Clippers are fighting to stay in playoff contention. Paul George is long gone, and Kawhi pops in and plays a few games here and there, really whenever he feels like it. On top of all of that, the Thunder are in a great position to stagger their talent acquisition in order to create a dynastic, yes, a dynastic juggernaut for over a decade. The draft picks the team has acquired are ridiculous. The team has a possible 12 first-round picks available for the next 5 years. Yup, you heard right, 12. If they draft wisely, they could possibly find another 1 or 2 J-Dubs, or they could always use those picks in trade packages to grab a star or a few stars over the upcoming seasons to become even more of a threat. Meanwhile, over at the Intuit Dome, home of Steve Ballmer's 1,000 toilets, the future is nowhere as bright. But what can you really expect after mortgaging your future for short-term benefits? The Clippers currently don't have many draft assets to get excited about. The team only has 4 first-round picks for the next 5 years. And if they turn out to be any good, 3 of them will be swapped out by either OKC or Philly. This can be looked at as the rich keep getting richer, but in this case, the poor, the Clippers, can't complain about it because they are largely to blame for giving away their riches to OKC. This is a perfect example of why you should mind your business and keep your bone. Don't be greedy. Because this team is pretty much in the same exact spot they were when they made the trade to the Thunder. Not good enough to really do much in a loaded Western Conference. On the other hand, the team they practically built is a youthful juggernaut and should be for some time to come. Looking back, how did you rate the trade for OKC at the time? How much do you rate the trade for them now? Let me know in the comments, and until next time, keep ballin'.